Okay. All right. And we are live. Okay. So I've been talking. I've been talking for about 5 minutes without people hearing me. I actually muted. Okay. Can you actually hear now? Okay. Yeah. All right. Good. Well, that's hilarious. I haven't done a live stream in about, I would say 2 years. So that just shows you I'm a little bit out of touch. So you just saw my mouth ramble for about 20 minutes. We got 29 people, crazy people, who are actually waiting to hear what I gotta say. So now you can hear me. So I wanted to do this little live stream for people out there who don't know who we are, who don't know who I am. What's Coin Vigilante? What are we doing here? And also to reconnect back with previous customers who we've had since 2021. That's when we launched our company. I promise I'm not going to talk about watches only the whole time. Okay, I won't make it that boring. But I want to talk about the roadmap, right? So we created this company, Coin Vigilante, about three years ago. So we make amazing Bitcoin inspired watches that we design, create, manufacture, and people wear worldwide in 45 countries. So we're a business, and with that, there's good things, bad things that have happened, amazing things in the pipeline that are about to come in the next couple months. And I wanted to, just let everyone know, hey, this is what's going on with the business. So for those who don't know, we created this company to design and manufacture Bitcoin inspired watches that people can resonate with, right? So you can see them back here. I got them displayed. The watches are created with a purpose. Everyone out there, there's a need for humans to express themselves, right? Whether that's a Bitcoin shirt, Bitcoin socks, you name it. People wear their $5,000 Louis Vuitton little bags that are like super cool, I guess. I'm not all about that. But again, it's expression, right? Some people don't want to have any brand on their stuff. So to me, I wanted to wear something and buy something, right? That I can display everywhere I go. It reminds me of why I'm into Bitcoin. And it reminds me of what I'm fighting for every day, which is pushing adoption for Bitcoin, right? It all goes back to very strong fundamentals that, you know, gave birth to this company. And that is the current system, which was created by seven of the richest men in the early, I would say 1900s. They created the Federal Reserve in order to monopolize money, right? Seven of the richest guys who controlled about 40% of the world's wealth, and it happened in Jekyll Island. So these guys have been destroying the purchasing power of people out there. You, me, your sisters, your brothers, your mom, your grandma, everyone who's working a 9 to 5 has to work and put that time on the table, right? Put that time to get food on the table, to earn dollars, to earn their money that they need to use to feed their family. And meanwhile, while we have to put time and work for that, we have the Federal Reserve who's printing trillions of dollars out of thin air. Out of thin air. Does that make any sense to you? Does that not make you mad? They don't have to work for it. They can hit a button and add a couple zeros and it's printed. And guess who gets it? The banks, right? And so this system where we have governments overspending without zero accountability, with zero accountability, the Federal Reserve printing trillions of dollars, it's a system that has hurt us forever. Have you guys looked at the price of cars? Have you looked at the price of homes? Have you looked at how unaffordable many things are these days? I can't go to a restaurant. And I'm living in Ohio here, so the cost of living is actually a little cheaper than, let's say, Florida, California. I can't go out without spending $30 trying to get a meal. It's that bad, right? You go get eggs, it's about $5. You go get things in the grocery, expensive. But why? People don't ask that question. They just say it's inflation. But the reason why, it's because it's the hidden tax that we all have to pay because the government and the Federal Reserve are printing trillions of dollars. That money floods the system over time and it drives prices up because the more money that's in the system, the more that it's used. And guess who uses it? Because the money doesn't go, when someone prints $1 trillion, it doesn't go into the pockets of people, you and me. It goes into the banks and it goes into the elite. And those are the guys who can afford to buy assets. And what is that? Homes, real estate, stocks, You see where it's going? So it drives prices up. And that's something that pisses me off, and that's something that I've always been incredibly mad at. And so it drives me crazy. So I wanted to create something that would remind me of how important it is to fight for Bitcoin. And again, we're also a company. We support meetups out there. We go to meetups nowadays to support Bitcoin meetups out there that are pushing adoption. We One of the things that I want to do eventually, as we become a more stable business, is donate or put some of the dollars and profits that we have, some of the sats, into companies out there in the Bitcoin ecosystem who are pushing adoption, right? To nonprofits. How can we as a company keep growing and help in the way that we can grow? And that is what every Bitcoiner out there should be able to do, right? Um, we're a watch company. Some could say, dude, you're a watch company. What are you talking about? You're just selling watches. You're making money. Okay. Are you really part of a movement? Well, look, everyone's got a business. This is our business. This is what it happens to be. And from what I can tell you, and this is the goal that I had ever since we created these watches, is the watches got to mean something to those who wear them. Every single line that we've launched has meant something. For example, the very first line that we launched, which was in 2021, was through our Kickstarter. So we actually did crowdfunding. We raised close to $100,000 in a month, and people bought close to 750 watches. That watch was designed to represent the importance of sound money and time, the relation that those two have. Sound money protects that time that you spend to earn money to put food on the table, right? The dollar does not. That's what that line was created to represent. Sound money against fiat money, which does not protect what we're fighting for and working for. Okay. Keep in mind, money is energy, right? It's the energy that you put in to get that to get that money. And so we created that line. In the back, in the case back, we engraved the Genesis block hash. That's the block hash for the very first block, right? That is basically signifying the beginning of sound money through time. Okay, so that's one line. The next line that we just launched, and it was very recent, was the Bitcoin Halving 2024 line. That was only 100 pieces. We made it extremely limited. We did it for a reason, right? So every 4 years, when the Bitcoin Halving occurs, we are going to launch another one, completely different. So the watches that we just launched a couple months ago are gone, never to be made again. And the special thing about that is creating a watch that is not only incredibly unique and appealing to the eye, because it was absolutely beautiful. I actually have it here, and maybe I can share the screen. So it's a skeleton design where you can actually see the Bitcoin logo on the dial, and in a very small detail right there, the orange Bitcoin hand, which is running across the watch. So we inscribed the block height, 840,000, the time at which the Bitcoin halving took place. We also made it limited, only 100 pieces. Make it limited like Bitcoin. So that represents a significant period in time for Bitcoin, the halving. The one that we just released, and you can see back behind us, is the Transparency Edition. So let me tell you a little bit of why it's called Transparency. The reason why we wanted to do this, and it's very similar in design to the Bitcoin halving, but it has its color variations, different things. Transparency. Why transparency? Transparency is one of the cornerstones of Bitcoin. Many principles that Bitcoin has, such as scarcity, such as being proof of work, this and that, but transparency. Okay, so to someone who doesn't even know what we were about, why transparency? That's just an odd name. Well, if you think of how the current system operates, it operates behind curtains. No one sees what's going on. One guy, Mr. Powell, makes the decision to print trillions of dollars whenever he wants to. That money, and the money that the government overspends as well, is sent to God knows where. We're sending trillions over here, billions over to Ukraine, billions to support and fund this specific thing, billions of dollars to support the education system. And guess what? You guys want to know why it's so difficult to actually know how bad the monetary system is? There's a reason. There's a reason why many people don't know. There's a reason why many people don't know why printing of money is hurting us. Printing money? What? I thought the dollar was backed by gold. I still have people in my family who think that the dollar is backed by gold. That is how uneducated we are. But why? Because it's very boring and very hard to understand. They do that for a purpose, right? They don't do that by accident. They make it difficult. They make it terrible to understand. And guess who funds the education system? The government, public schools. When you take out loans to go to college, who are you taking loans with? The government, right? So you have to pay back the government. So who's funding the education system? So there's an agenda behind that too. So I took an international business degree, studied business in college, and not once did I ever learn about money. Not once did I ever learn about how the Federal Reserve prints trillions of dollars. Not once did I learn about the creation of money, any of that stuff. And that tells you what the system is doing. It is not transparent. It doesn't want to be transparent. It wants to keep everyone in their own little circles, having fun, being in their comfort zone. Meanwhile, on the other hand, we know how many Bitcoin are going to be created ever in the existence of mankind. 21 million Bitcoin. We know that because it is a transparent blockchain. And we actually, because of that principle, we know that there's going to be scarcity. We know that no one's going to print and devalue our purchasing power. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing to represent. And we wanted to represent that with these watches, right? It is time to have a system of sound money in place that is offering an alternative to the current system that is robbing us. And that should mean something to people who wear these watches. That should mean something to people you know. And hopefully, with the meaning of these watches and what I just explained, you can also explain it to other people, because that's the movement. We have got to start educating other people about this, because if we don't do it, I know the government's not going to do it. I know the school's not going to do it. I know colleges are not going to do it. So that is a passion that we have behind the creation of these watches. It's a beautiful watch. I'll get to more fun things. I kind of just go on rants. It's my first live stream. But I'm going to do a little unboxing experience for those who have never bought any of our watches. That way you can check it out. So initially in 2021, when we released the watches, the packaging was good, but not as good as this one. The Halving watch was probably the best packing material that we've ever had. The unboxing experience was just ridiculous, out of this world. So for this one, for the transparency, it comes with this beautiful packaging right here. Very nice detail box. What you're going to see right away when you open this box is this is going to come down. It's a little flap that comes down, and you're actually going to be able to read a quote from Satoshi Nakamoto. And it says, "I have been working on a new electronic cash system that's fully peer-to-peer with no trusted third party." So why did we pick that quote? Because it goes back to the transparency. It's peer-to-peer. We don't need a trusted third party. We don't need banks to know who we're sending money to. We don't need banks to know how much money we're holding. You guys know what the banks do? The moment you deposit money in that bank, they lend it to other people. Are you good with that? And then when they lend it to that other person, which isn't another bank, that bank lends that money to someone else. And then this money just keeps being created and circle around. The moment 5%, just 5% of people try to get their money back and pull it out, pull all their deposits out of the bank goes broke. They don't have money to cover it. And what do you think happens when they don't have money to cover it? The Federal Reserve turns a light on and prints trillions of dollars to be able to back him up and bail him out. And with those trillions of dollars, what happens when they're put into the system? Inflation goes up. It's a complete scam, guys. Okay, it really is. Anyway, another little tangent that I went to, but again, awesome quote that comes with the box. As soon as you open that up, you can slide this out. It's got the transparency branding on there, which is really neat. So that is definitely pretty unique in that aspect compared to previous lines that we've launched. Nice leather detail. So it's made of leather. And as soon as you open it, boom. Okay, so check that out. Transparency, and the Bitcoin logo in the box. And we also added a little detail. So we put a card, an owner's card that shows you the number one, you're an owner to it. Nice little detail to put by your watch, and a little quote about what the transparency line means to us. Okay, with the signature there too. So everyone who buys one is going to be able to get one of these. And just so I can keep nerding out, I'm going to read you the quote so you actually know what's in the watch. Okay, in this little card. So, for decades, we've allowed central banks to create fiat out of thin air and governments to overspend with zero accountability, eroding our purchasing power and devaluing our hard earned money. Bitcoin's transparency put this to an end. Transparency is one of the cornerstones of Bitcoin, as it allows for every transaction to be verified, traced, and audited by anyone, anywhere. Through this principle, we can also guarantee one thing: there will never be more than 21 million Bitcoin ever. And this is what our transparency edition stands for. So there you go, guys. I wanted to just let you know what this line stands for. It's a beautiful watch, very similar to the Halving watch. I wanted to talk a little bit about a couple concerns that we've had with customers. So some of our customers have gotten, not many, but a little bit upset with putting out another line of watches, the transparency line, which is very similar to the Bitcoin halving. Okay, we can agree on that. It's got the same case, but the difference, and I wanted to also jump on this live stream to let you know of my thoughts behind this. Okay, similarity, yes, exists between these lines, the halving, the transparency. But you guys got to think of watches being very difficult to work with in terms of creativity sometimes, when it comes to variations, right? If you look at Rolex, if you look at Omega, even some of the best brands of watches out there, when they change, sometimes after many years of having a beautiful watch that has been selling out like crazy, they introduce a new line that has a tiny slight change in color or a tiny little detail here and there. So with watches, you kind of have to be, it's kind of like a give and take when it comes to creating new watches. I'll tell you one thing for sure, for those who were a little bit upset that this transparency line was not completely different and, totally different than the Bitcoin halving watch. We have so many things down the pipeline that are going to just blow your brains out. So, I mean, you guys are going to freak out when you see some of the things that are coming up. So transparency line is beautiful. The watch that we just released is crafted in a stunning all black case. It's made of great quality material, 360L stainless steel, which is pretty much hospital grade material that they use. Very scratch resistant. Sapphire crystal, which, pretty much on the scale, diamond is about the only thing that can scratch it. So very good materials. Just so you guys know the differences for this one, we did a beautiful, I'll actually share the screen so you guys can actually see the detail because my camera is not very good. An awesome detail that we have here is the Bitcoin seconds hand that we created. So I think we're sharing right now. Let me just make sure. So you guys can see here the great detail that we put behind this watch. Okay, so one very cool detail was that seconds hand. It really pops when you actually look into it, and again, the beauty of the silver in contrast with the black is just amazing. So the wording is different. So we laser engraved transparency on the watch. It does not have the block height that we did on the Bitcoin halving watch. And again, it's a tribute to Bitcoin's transparency. It's got a clear case back as well, clear front, the skeleton design with the iconic Bitcoin logo. It's got the rotor right here with a Bitcoin engraved on it. So really neat. And we're going to keep coming out with more. Stay tuned. I did announce today that we have a couple more releases coming up this week. So stay tuned. We're going to have more. These are made in limited production batches. Okay, so these are limited production. No, they're not numbered. I did not want to take away from the Bitcoin halving scarcity, which was only 100. We did number those. Some people were upset about that, but again, like I want to go back to this. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. So, even the best brands out there do this. Rolex, you never know. That's why they're so scarce. You never know when Rolex is going to come out with a new batch, and that's why people are always there's a wait line. There's a wait list for these watches. They don't tell you how many are going to be made. For me, and I'm still about to decide this. We want to make, I would say, about 200 to 300 watches total for the transparency edition of the black one. We've only made 75 so far. Okay, so 75 black watches. That's about it. The next time we come out with new might be end of next year, maybe the following. We just have so many things down the pipeline that it's really not something that we're going to be coming out with very frequently. So when we get something on the website, you probably want to get your hands on it. We sold a Bitcoin Halving watch in about, I don't know, but 2 weeks when we launched over in January. So they go fast. People love the design, but definitely stay tuned for the ones we're going to launch in a couple days here. This week, one for sure. And again, I hope you guys love the watches. I hope that for the people in 45 countries who are wearing these watches, I hope you love them. They really do mean a lot to me and to the whole team. We work very hard to make these watches and timepieces signify something important to you guys. So I feel like I've gone on a crazy talk. You're probably done hearing me talking about the Fed, the Federal Reserve, watches, and this and that. But I wanted to let you guys know from basically my standpoint, which I run the company, as to what we're working with, how we're working with everything, explaining the transparency line, um, the limited production aspect, and various other things. So stay on the lookout. I really appreciate you guys. If there's anyone out here who's watching and owns a watch, just pop in on the group chat or whatever we have here. Put some comments out there. Let me know if you have any watches, how you like them, and if you don't say anything, man, maybe people not wearing watches are watching right now. But we will do a couple more live streams, maybe a week, every let's try once a week. How about that? And then you guys can hear a little bit of my rants too. We'll do a happy Wednesday tequila day, have a little tequila drink while we talk about this. I don't know, but anyway, guys, stay tuned for more. More stuff is going to come out this week, and I appreciate you guys. For those who the 70 crazy people on Twitter or X that were watching, appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you